Hey guys, welcome to Nerdy Ernie Reviews. I am your host, Nerdy Ernie. Today we're going to be reviewing New Mutants, the long-delayed, almost forgotten stepchild of the X-Men universe. And after watching the movie, it's kind of easy to see why it was delayed for so long. It's bad. I'm not exactly sure whether the reshoots ever happened for the film or what the timeline was on the production. It's all kind of murky. But it's easy to see why it was delayed for so long, like I said earlier. From the script to the acting to the plot, the whole movie is just kind of messy. The biggest issue I had with the movie is that I never got a sense of what it wanted to be. It's almost as if it suffers from an identity crisis. There's these elements of horror in it, but it's not really a horror film. And then it has elements of like YA, coming of age, romance kind of story, but it's not really that either. And then of course there's the overarching superhero story, but it's not your traditional superhero story either. It's like if you mixed X-Men with Breakfast Club and then you added a horror twist to it, which honestly sounds great on paper, but it's just not executed well. My second issue with the movie has to do with the characters, and this is probably the more frustrating part because this is where the movie had so much potential. Besides Alice Braga's character, who's used primarily as an expositional tool, the teenagers themselves are actually all pretty interesting. They all have rather interesting backstories, some really cool origins, but we never really get to dig into them. I feel like if this was a limited series or a TV show, each teenager could probably warrant their own episode, just focusing on their backstory or their origin. It's pretty interesting stuff once you dig into them. But here's the problem. We barely scratch the surface with these characters. It feels like every time we're getting to know them a little better and things are getting a little interesting, the movie immediately reverts back to its like teen angst, emo, YA kind of tendencies. And that circles back to the identity crisis I mentioned earlier. Even the characters don't know how to act. One minute they're helping each other through a meltdown, then they're at each other's throats, then the next minute they're dancing to punk rock and joking around with each other, and then they're back at each other's throats again. It's just, this movie is all over the place. Simply put, it could have been good, it could have been really interesting, but it never really found its footing, and it just kind of stayed all over the place. I am hoping that someone can take this IP and try to make a TV show out of it, because like I said, I do think if we focused on the teenagers themselves, we could have a really interesting story if this was like a, I don't know, 6-episode, 8-episode limited series, or, you know, heck, even a full-on TV show with multiple seasons. The characters are that interesting. It's just we never really get to dig into them. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and give my rating for the movie. Here at Nerdy Ernie, we do a different rating system. We don't do a traditional 1 to 5 stars or 1 to 10 stars. We do a 1 to 6 beer rating system. Basically, how many beers are you going to need to enjoy this film? On a scale of 1 to 6 beers, I'm going to give New Mutants a 4 beer out of 6 pack. You're not going to need to crush a whole 6-pack to enjoy this movie. It's not a total disaster, but you are going to need a solid buzz.
Are you okay?
I am great.
I think you're drunk.
I think I am too.
All right, guys, so that is my review of New Mutants. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you next time.